In your book, The Border Crossed Us, you cover an expansive history of economic and immigration policy between the US and Mexico. And you lay out very well how the US, for 175 plus years, has had its hands in the Mexican economy and Mexican politics, whether through military force or economic control. And the economic ties between the US and Mexico has seen various developments like the Bracero program and the border industrialization program. And those developments paired with the US wanting to reassert its global dominance since the 1970s, especially, and the rise of neoliberalism, that's all evolved into what you call the migra state.
Migra is a slang term commonly used by Spanish speakers to describe the border patrol, ICE, and all other immigration enforcers. The state has created more and more of an enforcement and repressive apparatus geared towards migrant labor by keeping millions of workers not only without citizenship, but policed and under constant threat of arrest, detention, deportation. The state is literally creating a separate population of workers who are kept in this state, and so they have less rights or no rights. The law is so structured in favor of giving employers the ability to extract more from these workers. So all along this route, we're seeing ways in which profit, exploitation creates higher rates of accumulation and higher rates of profit.
And other than the fact that everyone should be opposed to a stricter immigration policy simply because it's just inhumane, explain how that's bad for all workers.
With each increase in enforcement, we see wage disparity. When the lowest wages across any industry, the lowest threshold of wages go up in any industry, all wages go up. It's the same concept behind raising the minimum wage. So with enforcement only, we see again this re-tiering, restructuring, the widening wage gap. So the empirical evidence shows that enforcement leads to greater profit. It depresses the standard of living, lowers wages on the one side, creates more capital and more profitable extraction.
These corporations are trying to accumulate as much capital as possible. So like that necessitates keeping wages as low as possible. So like there's no way they would allow a cross-border union or even just a union on one side of the border. What's the exit strategy for the working class? What does a movement against borders look like?
It's going to take a movement of workers to be willing to shut down, go on strike, and make demands for equal pay, but also political demands for equal rights. It's going to take an anti-capitalist orientation. So there has to be political movements that understand the limitations of electoral politics as a means of transforming, or upending or undoing the migra state. It has to be a variety of factors, but essentially anything that strengthens the working class, transnational working class, over capital is a step towards dismantling that. But I think there are steps that are already showing how the working class on both sides of the border is becoming more aware of how their interests and well-being is interconnected.